Good afternoon, students. We are going to be doing a few problems from your DeltaMath assignment to make sure, I know you have the built-in examples, but maybe this will help a few of you who may be stuck on some of these more difficult problems from some of the end of your DeltaMath. Let's see, this first one is talking about a circle that has a radius of 9.1, and it has an angle that intercepts an arc of length 46.9. Now, I don't know exactly how big that is, but I think 46.9 is most likely a pretty big arc. So I think what we are probably talking about here is something where the arc goes a long way around the circle. The reason I know this is that if the radius is 9.1, if I was to take a string and stretch that around the circle, that would be a pretty big long arc, and it wants to know the angle in radians to the nearest tenth. Well, what I need to use is my idea that I did with arc length, where I say my arc length is going to be found by doing my circumference, which is 2 pi r, and my radius is 9.1. And then it needs to be multiplied by the fraction of the circle that I have here. So it doesn't know the angle in radians, but what I do know is all the way around the circle is 2 pi radians, because the circle is 360 degrees or 2 pi radians. So I'm looking for some angle out of 2 pi times this should be equal to my arc length of 46.9. I wish I had a little bit more room to write here, but we'll make the best we can. So when I go to do this, if you wanted to type that in the calculator, you could. I hope you do recognize, though, that that will cancel out. You have a 2 pi on the denominator, will cancel out that other 2 pi. So all I really need to do is do 46.9 divided by 9.1 to solve for x. So if I do that, 46.9 divided by 9.1 should be an answer of 5.15. And my directions said to round to the nearest tenth. So 5.15, a tenth would be 1 decimal place, so that would be 5.2. If I submit that, hopefully it should be the correct answer. And I got that one right. I'm off to a good start. Let's go ahead and try a second one. On this one, it's the same basic idea, except for this time, it tells me the angle and it wants to know the length of the arc. So let's try it. Now, once again, my radius is 5, and if the angle is 5 pi over 6, that's a little bit more than 1 pi. 1 pi is 180 degrees, so it's a little bit more than that. So I'm talking about something about like this for the length of my arc. That just gives me an idea of, well, it's going to be a little bit more than 20 probably, or maybe in the neighborhood of 20, we'll see. And then to get my arc length, what I need is the fraction of the circle times the circumference. The circumference would be 2 pi r, which is 2 pi times 5 in this case. And then the part I have is 7 pi over 6 compared to 2 pi. Once again, I should be able to see that my 2 pi's will cancel. And then all I need to do is do 7 pi over 6 times 5. Now, in this case, it wants it in simplest form, which is a key that it wants it in terms of pi. So since I want pi on my paper, I'm not going to put it in the calculator. So I'm just going to do 7 over 6 times 5. So when I do this, 7 over 6 times 5, and make it a fraction using this button there, it's 35 over 6 times pi. So let's try typing that in, 35 over 6 times pi. And it had the pi button you could use, or I just did that. Let's see if that's correct. And it certainly is. Hope working through those couple problems helps you. I might work one more in a second video.